Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick, and this is, again, not a daily ramble. Can't be asked to change a graphic. This is a match reaction. It's very late. I had a bit of a domestic, well, kind of a remote domestic. I finished in London at 3 o'clock, and my son, who was in Eastbourne staying with my sister, called and said he wanted to be picked up. So I drove to Eastbourne, which took bloody ages, made it for kickoff, watched the game around there, watched the game, and then travelled back for 3 hours. All the roads were bloody closed, and listened to all of the YouTube reviews as well from most of the channels. I think what I will say is good shout out to Gio, because I think he was the only one that was kind of non-delusional and really honest with his assessment. I've got to be honest. Everyone else was fucking gaslighting the shit out of that one. From what I could see, not everyone, but there was quite a few that were. You know, it's all whatever. I'm going to give my thoughts on it anyway. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a like on the video. I've calmed down now. Weren't very happy after the game. Nothing like as angry as I was after the Aston Villa game. But look, let's face it. I suppose losing away to Olympiacos isn't. It's not the end of the world. But for me, it's a manner of the defeat. Again, it's the style, and I've always said the same thing. When you play this way, if you don't win, you've got nothing. You've literally got fuck all, nothing at all, and you're left feeling empty and embarrassed after watching that type of thing. And it was an embarrassment. You know, we got a consolation goal at the end that we'll go on to talk about, but David Moyes made huge changes to this one. The build-up to this as well, I could say I had a bad feeling about it once I started seeing snippets from his press conference when he was asked about Cresswell and Johnson, because obviously they said, you know, are they available? And his response was, well, yeah, they're available if we need them. If we need them, that's going to make them feel special, isn't it? Likewise, when he was quizzed about making changes, it wasn't sort of bigging up the players that are kind of waiting to come in, like your Ben Ramas and your Fornells. Didn't say he was rotating or anything like that. He just went, nah, just resting players. I'm resting my first team. These boys are just going to come in so that my first team can have a rest. And you know what? We saw a little bit of a fucking reaction to that as well, I think, because the players that came in, they did not look like they could be asked. These are not shit players. I've seen people come out and say, this is why David Moyes can only play the same 11 players, because the rest of them ain't good enough. They're not good enough. They are fucking good enough. They're not sharp. They're not match sharp, and they're not motivated. These players are not motivated at all. David Moyes looks after a close-knit, small group of players, and he fucks everyone else off that's outside that circle. And you know what? He's called en masse loads of players in, and they ain't done a job for him. They haven't done a job for him, you know? It's as simple as that. It was literally, as poor as that lineup was, which it was shit, because do you know what? Even the ones, his regulars were poor today, apart from Emerson. I thought Emerson probably was one of the better players. But James Ward-Prowse was shit. Shit again for the second game running. Awful. He was at fault for the first goal. Just completely lost the guy. He did. I know Benny and Fornells were involved as well, but that was James Ward-Prowse's man. just let him go. Just let him go. He's slow, James Ward-Prowse. He's not physical. He's not mobile. He's not a presence in midfield. He's not. And for the second game running now, his set pieces have been completely ineffective as well. His corners weren't great. The execution weren't great today, and he had another set piece as well. You know, a shot on goal, wasn't even on target. So he had a poor game, a terrible game. Souček again. I'm just not going to talk about him. What's the point? You know, didn't do anything again. You know, but people will say, you know, he's in there as a disruptive influence and he creates space for other players to flourish. Yeah, worked well today, didn't it? Worked well. Lucas Paqueta, when he did come on, he was poor again. He was poor, but scored a great goal. Kudus, I agreed with Gio. I think Kudus did well defensively because Olympiacos were the best team in that by a country mile. They were. You know, it wasn't like a complete and utter battering like we suffered against Villa in terms of, you know, felt like we was going to get smashed 4, 5, 6-0. But they were just better. They were just better than us. They were. And David Moyes setting up, we know that the David Moyes system only works with a focal point up front. We know he's got Mabama. We know he's got Danny Ings. We know that he's used Danny Ings as a lone striker umpteen times before. And we know that it's never worked. So what does he do in this game? He uses Danny Ings again up front on his own. I mean, you do the maths, seriously. But listen, we can't criticise Moyes. Mustn't criticise him. He won us a cup. He's the reason we're even playing Olympiacos. He is. You mustn't criticise him, you know. We're like packs of dogs. We mustn't analyse anyone. It's been coming out all today, you know. I've seen a few shows, even before the game, where they're just kind of fucking... Honestly... Now, the start of the season, right? If people say, "Oh, why did you maintain your kind of your stance on Moyes, even when we was doing well at the start?" Well, because some people can see through 3 points, and the fact that your goalkeeper is getting man of the match in consecutive fucking games highlights the fact that there might be some problems coming. We weren't clean. We weren't. We've not been great all season. We've had moments. But we've not been great all fucking season. We had good results. That's what we had. And going back to that, that's all a lot of fans give a fuck about is 3 points. They don't see through that at all. They don't care about anything beyond that. That's fine. But don't criticise people that do look a little bit deeper. I do care about performance. And it isn't just the fact that it's easier on the eye. We were inviting too many chances onto our goal. At some point... these shots that were being saved or that were off target, they were going to start going in. Now, what he's done is he's rested a load of players en masse, Moyes, and he's made it clear that he's almost sacrificed. Well, he didn't sacrifice it. There's no way he wanted to win this game because now that group is anyone's. Now we're level on points with Freiburg and Olympiacos are upper arses on 4 points. So we play them in 2 weeks' time. So now that group is wide open again. You know, we were comfortable. Now we're not. We probably should have got the job done, but he said that he's rested his preferred players for the Everton game. Well, the trouble is when you do that, you've got to win that game. You have to win the game because now you have literally sacrificed that Olympiacos game because it didn't work what you tried, you know? And it's got nothing to do with the fact that the backup players that we've got are not good enough. It's because they're unmotivated. It's because they're unhappy. It's because they're lacking match sharpness. Okay? Fornals now looks like he can't even fucking pass the ball. I mean, against Aston Villa, he brings him on with 2 minutes to go. He's just insulting the guy. He is. I'm not surprised that Fornals wants his move. I think he wants to go to Sevilla. He's had enough. He doesn't want to play for Moyes anymore. I don't blame him. He's given it a good crack. He's tried everything. He's done everything that Moyes has asked him to do to the best of his ability. He played out of position, and Moyes has just dumped him. That's all he's done. And do you know what? I don't blame him. Ben Rama, similar as well. I mean, I'm not the biggest Ben Rama fan, but he's way better than what he showed for the last few games. He's another one. He just doesn't want to be there now. You're going to see it more and more. Paqueta doesn't look right now. I don't know what it is. He scored a great goal, but the last few games... he's been getting caught on the ball. He looks quite cumbersome. I don't know whether he's carrying an injury or because he doesn't look as sharp as what he did. You know, he was kind of brilliant in that situation where he was inviting players onto him. He could fight them off, skip out of it. Well, now he's getting caught and he's kind of getting tackled relatively easily. So he's either carrying an injury or there's something else with him. So we're starting to see players that were excelling starting to drop off. We've seen Antonio drop off. I thought he showed a lot of fight when he came on today, Antonio. A little bit too much. I thought he was lucky to escape a red, as was Paqueta, as was Ogbonna. But no, that was, like I said, you could tolerate a defeat. You could tolerate a defeat in this game. But the performance, nah. Fuck all. If you don't get 3 points under a David Moyes performance, you have nothing. All those fans that have travelled out there, spent all of that money to go out there, and he does that. You got Mabama on the bench. If you're going to play this David Moyes way, you need kind of a battering ram up front. In what world does Danny Ings fit that mould? He's got Mabama on the bench that he refuses to use because it's all about squad seniority. That's all it is. And I don't really understand it because it isn't like he ain't really keeping any of those guys happy. He's not. So no, I think people are going to chalk it off as another bad day at the office. They're going to say, you know, it is what it is. We won 17 games before this. You can't complain. Look, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. He ain't going to get sacked or anything like that. They're not going to sack him because we're at no risk of getting relegated this season. And that's all Sullivan cares about. There's too many shit teams in the league. So however bad this goes, hopefully it goes well. But if it carries on going badly, he ain't going to get sacked anyway. He's not going to. He's not going to. All that's going to happen is you're going to start seeing more and more players becoming disenchanted with what West Ham are. That's by the end of the season. You know, by the time that Moyes goes, whoever comes in is going to have a job to pick these players up off the floor. You know, heaven forbid we make a proactive change, and rather than wait until we're falling off a cliff to try, make a change now, a positive change. Never happened, though. Never happened. I suppose, look, at the end of the day as well, you need to have someone that's available. You're not going to get anyone like Xabi Alonso out of his job at Leverkusen. The only one that's probably available at the moment is Potter. And I wouldn't mind that, but he would have to be ready for the job. You know, he might want more of a rest after that dog's dinner that happened at Chelsea. I don't know. I think he'd be a good fit, by the way. But it's a moot point. Look, he's not going to go anywhere. He's not. Hopefully, we beat Everton on Sunday, but I'm not confident. I'm not confident now. I'm not confident against Arsenal either. You know, imagine that. Imagine losing to getting battered by Villa, getting embarrassed in Greece, losing at home to Everton, who are shit. They're playing better, but they are a shit team. And then getting knocked out of the EFL Cup by Mikel Arteta's B team, because that's what we're going to be facing. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we pick up. Hopefully we can get back on the horse again. But the confidence that we saw at the start of the season has dwindled. You know, it's kind of it has. And like I say, David Moyes doesn't do anything publicly anyway. I don't know what he does behind closed doors because I'm not there. But what he says publicly, fuck me, I can only imagine what he says behind closed doors. You know, if you've got people on the bench, on the cusp, who are gagging to get in that team, and they get their opportunity against Olympiacos, and they basically hear, I'm just resting my key players. All these boys are doing is they're just coming in because I'm resting my players. You know, it doesn't really matter how well they do. He's proved that. You know, Flynn Downs last year got 2 consecutive man of the match performances. Didn't really earn a Premier League start, and when he did get started, he was played out of position so that he looked as shit as possible. He was played in like a number 10, was never once played as a CDM, because when Moyes doesn't like someone, you know, he's not going to do the best to make it work for him. And I do believe he is that cynical. I do, truly. I think he's got his players that he likes, that he wants in that team. And when he's under pressure to get other players in that he doesn't necessarily want to play, I do believe that there's probably part of that man that won't necessarily help a situation for a player when he's pressured to get someone in that team. But yeah, look, I might be wide of the mark. I don't know. It was shit, wasn't it? It was rubbish. So, again, this is just, you know, that was, yeah, I really wasn't happy after the game. I just feel really apathetic now. I do. And as for some of the fucking reactions from some people, I mean, it's like we lose like this and you've still got to be rose-tinted. You've got to be, otherwise you're a toxic fan. You've got to be a fucking idiot or you're toxic, basically. But no, like I said, credit to Gio, really good review. Balanced, as he always is, but honest. At least he was honest. Anyway, look, that's it from me. Yeah, I ain't got no more to say. Shit game. Great goal from Lucas Paqueta. That was about it. Come on, you irons. Fuck off, Moyes.